The following podcast contains spoilers for The Basement and Midsommar. You have been warned.
Welcome back, everybody, to KFR News Radio. This is your host, Benjamin Barton, along with your host, Miguel Acosta.
Hello.
Hola.
Como estas?
Bien gracias.
How you doing?
I'm surviving, man. We just out here on the streets living. I don't know what that exactly means, but
that's what I was saying. On the streets living and stuff. Yeah.
Like bums, I guess.
Hey, I got a question for you.
I hope I have an answer.
What Scottish historical figure does Mel Gibson play in Braveheart? Ooh, topical, because we did kind of a not sequel to this for our first real episode.
William Wallace, isn't it?
Yeah, you got it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at the smarts on me. Not even having a multiple choice.
I honestly had no idea, so I mean, without looking at the card. I know it's like a real Scottish figure. I don't know his name, though. Scottish history is not my forte. So, how you been? You got any movies to mention that you watched last week?
Yes and no. Okay, so by the no, I mean I started them but fell asleep because they were pretty bad. So we watched Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't know if you got to see that yet.
I have not. Was that bad and you fell asleep?
Terrible. God, I fell asleep. Coma ridden.
I still haven't seen Homecoming, so.
Really?
Yeah,
I actually really liked Far From Home.
That's good.
I think it might be up there with the original Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire.
I have no interest in seeing either, but I probably will at some point. But I'm not rushing to see it. So
yeah.
So up there with Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock and Tobey Maguire, eh?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I personally think so. I think the villain, Jake Gyllenhaal, was that's actually the villain, just Jake Gyllenhaal, not any of the other characters.
Yeah.
He's just a bad guy.
Of course.
I thought he was great.
That's good.
Well written.
Anything else?
So I went to the beach this weekend. My dad likes to rent movies while we're there for when we're not going out at night. So he got a movie called Hellfest.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a not good horror movie. Then we watched The Meg. I fell asleep probably 20 minutes into that. And then
that one is bad, but it's fun. The Meg.
I didn't get that far. And then we rewatched Serenity with Matthew McConaughey. So that was great. He didn't like that. He's like, that movie was Drive. I'm like, I mean, you watched Hellfest and liked it. What?
That movie was Drive?
Jive.
Oh, Jive. What?
Yeah, it's just my dad's lingo.
Okay.
You gotta meet my dad. And then we watched one more movie. What the hell was it? Olivia Wilde movie, The Vigilante. That was pretty boring.
Really? Interesting. With a name like Vigilante, it was boring?
Yeah.
Well,
just think of the girl with the dragon tattoo without all the fun.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very fun.
Yeah. The premise, not really the spy stuff.
Yeah.
She is a lady who's helping other ladies, but it's really boring. Yeah, I think that's all we watched. Or you fell asleep too.
You beat me, even if you fell asleep. I only saw, other than the two we're talking about today, I only saw two. I saw yesterday the new Danny Boyle movie about the guy who gets hit by a bus and wakes up and no one remembers the Beatles. It was okay. It was fun. Nothing extremely crazy good, but it was still good movie. And then I watched Murder Mystery, a movie you watched, I think, last week or so.
The Adam Sandler one?
Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston. It was better than I thought it was going to be. As far as his movies go, I think you said this, which I agree with. It's better than many of his recent movies.
Yeah.
Still not saying much, but I laughed. I found it humorous at points.
It had its moments, but it still wasn't that great.
Yeah, I didn't hate watching it, but I would probably never watch it again.
I think the main thing that I said is what he usually makes his movies for is like his friends, but like this one wasn't one of those.
One thing I will say, him and Jennifer Aniston had a really good back and forth. Yeah, I thought I actually bought them as like husband and wife, even though she's like way out of his league.
They did another movie together too, didn't they?
Yeah, I forget which one, but
it was the one before or after Drew Barrymore, the most recent one.
Yeah,
just go with it.
Just go with it. Okay, I didn't see that one, but yeah, it overall is enjoyable, but nothing to write home about. But that does it for this week. We have 2 movies to discuss today. So let's start with The Basement.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have killed 7 people, tortured them in unspeakable ways. For these sins, I ask absolution.
Something has happened to my husband. He went to the store, but he never came home. Have you heard about this Gemini killer?
No.
He always answers his phone. He'd find a way to call.
Perhaps an interesting tattoo.
It's Gemini. Have a twin. A very lost soul.
All right. Let's get it over with here. The Basement, directed by Brian M. Conley and Nathan Ives, written by the same two, stars Jackson Davis, Caleb Long, and Misha Barton. The Basement is about a seemingly innocent man is abducted by a notorious LA serial killer who forces his victims to roleplay with him so that he can enact his capture, torture, and murder mysteries.
You mean fantasies?
See, we just said murder mystery, and I thought I'd like replace a word, but you know,
okay.
You caught me. You caught me.
Yeah, I guess I'll let you start with this one.
So I picked this movie knowing it was going to be bad, obviously. Knowing it was going to be bad. Probably borderline, absolutely the worst thing we've ever seen. But it looked like a funny knockoff of Split, which is the main reason why I picked it, and I wanted to see how that would play out.
You know, gun to my head, I would pick this over Spring Breakers.
Absolutely.
So it's not the worst thing we've ever seen, but
yeah, I mean, it was just really boring. Like, it wasn't even like enough to make fun of boring.
Yeah. And Misha Barton's character serves no purpose. And then they try to make her serve a purpose at the end with, her having hired her. First of all, the most obvious twist in the world.
Yeah.
Like, the second that the main character, played by Caleb Long, reveals that she was in a foster home and was, like, sexually abused and everything, while he's talking about his sister, who is the same age as her, also known as a twin, was sexually abused and went to a foster home. I was like, oh, okay, that's like 20 minutes in. You're not even going to try to like draw that out a little bit. And Misha Barton's character serves no purpose throughout everything, throughout the whole thing. You already know they're going to be like brother and sister, but like there's no capacity.
No,
like you don't know to what capacity. I mean,
it's a really boring time, and she was very boring and bland.
Yes.
I will say right off the bat, this is not going to be a movie we're going to talk about for a while. At least on this review, because it's very boring.
Yeah. I think that both Jackson Davis and Caleb Long, who are the two main characters, Jackson Davis playing Bill Anderson, who's the serial killer, Caleb Long playing Craig Owen, who's the victim, there were definitely moments in the movie that they seemed like they didn't want to be in that movie. I would say for the first...
Not lying at all.
For like the first 30, 40 minutes, they are both just phoning it in. Mm-hmm. And then there are definitely moments when they do up their game a bit and it's actually somewhat believable.
Yeah, you could see Jackson trying a little bit.
Yeah, and Caleb starts to try when he's trying to persuade, like he's kind of playing along with the serial killer's tendencies. But in a movie where the pizza delivery guy is the best actor, which is 100% true, the guy who delivers the pizza in it, the best actor in the entire thing. His name is Kareem J. Grimes. He's the played Andre, who I didn't even know he had a name, but apparently he had a name.
Really pizza guy.
But yeah, you know you're messing up when your pizza delivery guy's the best actor in the entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very, very small cast. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 people pretty much.
And I only remember like 5 or 6.
Yeah, there was
5.
I remember was the 4 main characters. There was the pizza guy, the store clerk, and then really after that, I don't.
Yeah, so 6 people I remember, and then
there might have been people in the store that I didn't see, but
and the actress who plays the best friend, who you find out later that Owen, well, not even later, just kind of right off the bat. There's no tension in this movie at all. You find out she's having an affair with the main actor. I didn't know that anyone could make Misha Barton look better in this movie by being worse than she is. But this actress did it. Bailey Ann Borders. I don't mean to call her out. Actually, I mean, yeah, I do. You're getting paid to act, and you're going to do that shitty of a job.
Well, I think a huge thing is, I don't know if like they might have gotten this from a friend or whatnot, but what did they have, a Ferrari in the beginning? They had a Ferrari. If like
I don't know my cars. I thought it was a Lamborghini, but I also am an idiot.
It's one of those exotic cars. But if I don't know if they paid for that or not, but if they did, they should have taken that money, gotten something relatively more like luxury looking, like a Mercedes or something, instead of like a full blown. Let me get a Ferrari or a Lambo.
Yeah, who drives a Lamborghini
and then goes to
run
store?
an errand? To run an errand.
But they went to like a quick stop store to pick up champagne.
Yeah, like it'd be one thing if it was like a really nice BMW or Mercedes or whatever, but like it is a sports car. You know that guy has more than one car anyway. And no one who owns a Lamborghini is the Lamborghini their only car. Mm-hmm. That's just not a thing that happens. No one only has a Lamborghini. I work in the automotive industry, unfortunately, and I have seen the miles on used Lamborghinis, and they're all like 2,000 miles is the highest I've ever seen a used Lamborghini.
Yeah, they suck up some gas too.
Yeah, which is why people get rid of them real fast. Yeah, they buy them to say that they have one, and then they never drive it, and then they sell it back.
Yes, if they wasted the budget on that, I think if they took that and maybe put it into either better actors or just better writing for the movie, it probably could have been slightly better.
Yeah.
Guy took a Lambo to a freaking a quick stop store.
One thing that
it was like a corner. It was literally a corner store.
Yeah, it's not just this movie too, but I love how in like bad movies, bad horror movies, to show that someone is not a good person or a weirdo, they have them listen to hardcore or heavy metal. Like, it's such a trope where they're just like, oh yeah, this person's a bad guy because he's listening to metal, and it's like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. It's not really working, but
I don't even think they're showing the budget on this in here.
Oh, I would not show the budget if I were them, because it's probably something embarrassing like $50 million or something. But yeah, it's probably 20 million of that's Misha Barton.
Yeah, man, this is just not a good movie. Not even enough to make fun of, which was my goal, was to just make fun of this movie.
Yeah, it's not bad in a fun way. It's just bad.
And what was he called? The Gemini Killer or something like that?
Yeah, it's... But why would they call... I guess he carved the Gemini symbol into their heads.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how did they know to call him the Gemini Killer?
Well, the main flaw that I saw with that is he's got the Gemini mark tattooed on his arm, so he's not a hard person to find.
Yeah, you just see that guy. Probably,
yeah, you're like, wow, that guy's got a huge Gemini tattoo on his arm. Maybe he's the Gemini killer.
He brings attention to him by listening to loud heavy metal music. Man, it's just not. I mean,
granted, I think he played it more. I don't know if that was like an act, because all that was an act, because like during the little flashback of when he's talking to his sister, like he seemed like a normal acting type guy, but I can't.
Yeah, and it has some positives to it. Like I said, like 40 minutes in, it does start getting compelling, but that's way too long for it to. Like I would have, if I wasn't doing this for this podcast, I probably would have turned it off.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, I wish I could find some budget and gross numbers, but I can't. They're hiding that shit.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that at all.
But yeah, I don't really have anything to say. It's a completely massive waste of time and.
I mean, this movie definitely would have worked better if it was more comical.
Oh my god! I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah. On Rotten Tomatoes, the picture of Caleb Long is a picture of him in the background. Like, there's someone who's in the foreground, two other people who are in front of him, and his head's just peering over this guy's shoulder.
Do you see it won an award?
For what?
Oh, actually, it didn't win. Jacob Davis won for Best Actor in Horror Hound Film Festival.
I mean, he does an okay job.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. Like, he did what he could with what was given to him.
Yeah. Horror Hound Film Festival, yeah.
And then they got nominated for Best Horror Feature in Shriek Fest 2017.
Yeah. It's, not to shit on horror festivals, but horror festivals aren't known for having like a high amount of quality. Yeah. I mean, it's not, again, not saying that they're bad. It's just horror festivals get a certain kind of people who like these kinds of movies, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, yeah, Jax Davis, he did a good job with what he had, but...
Yeah, I think this movie definitely would have worked better if it took like a comical direction or just maybe just a even darker direction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How difficult would it be to knock out a tooth? I would think enamel would be a lot harder than that.
Please, not my left hand.
That's okay, I'm sorry. There we go. Everything is set.
Yes, his name is Craig Owen. Please just check again.
Untie me right now!
Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us.
Sometimes what you see on the outside is not what's on the inside. I smile all the time.
They're doing bad things to me.
All right, let's move on to Midsommar.
You know, actually, before we move on, I'm sorry. I wonder if my dad would like this movie. Because I found out...
The Basement?
I found out my family loves shitty horror movies. Like, my sister and my dad both just love this shit.
I believe it. A lot of people do.
And my dad's girlfriend, too. Like, not to call them out, but, like, my dad's girlfriend asks me all the time. She's like, oh, how'd you like this movie? And it was a shit movie. Like, whatever she asks me every time I see her.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
And they didn't like Us. That drove me nuts.
Like, there are some people that I know that are really big into movies, but they like horror movies, and they're really easy on the bad horror movies, but then really hard on the good horror movies.
Yeah. Like,
they would rate... Just hypothetically, they would rate like The Shining and a movie like this the same, like maybe a half star difference or whatever, and it's just because for some reason they forgive when things don't have a budget, but then just go extra hard on what many people consider masterpieces because they want to be, you know, counterculture and all that.
Yeah, so when it comes to My Dad's Girlfriend, I try to be nice. Like, she asked me how the recent Annabelle was. I'm like, well, I can guarantee you it's probably shit. But with my dad and my sister, I'm just like, you liked that movie? No, never mind. I'm not surprised. But you guys need to get it together.
Yeah, and then how do you not like us? Anyway, moving on to Midsommar.
I told you that I want to go to that festival in Sweden.
No, you said it would be cool to go.
Yeah, and then I got the opportunity and I decided to do it.
I don't mind you going. I just wish you would have told me. That's all.
Dude, she needs a therapist. You've been wanting out of this stupid relationship for like a year now.
And don't forget about all of the beautiful Swedish women you'll meet in June.
Okay, guys.
That's not her again. Seriously?
Babe, what's happening? Danny.
I was so very sorry to hear about what happened.
I'm sorry.
I invited Danny to come to Sweden. You know what she's been going through.
Christian says you've got this special week planned.
It's sort of a crazy festival. Special ceremonies and dressing up.
That sounds fun.
Unbelievable.
Welcome and happy Midsummer. Skål!
Written and directed by Ari Aster, starring Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner, William Jackson Harper, Wilhelm Blomgren, and Will Poulter. Midsommar tells the story of a couple that travels to Sweden to visit a rural hometown's fabled Midsummer Festival. What begins as an idyllic retreat quickly devolves into an increasingly violent and bizarre competition at the hands of a pagan cult. Glenn.
Mike.
You text me after watching this 2 words. Those words were dude.
2 separate sentences.
2 separate sentences. Dude, period. What, period. Not even a question.
Just
a statement. A statement of what?
Dude, what?
And I need to know why.
Well,
because it could go either way. It could go either way.
Here, dude.
What?
What? Like, that's all I got. No, this movie was really, really good.
Yeah.
So the runtime was 2.5 hours, which I didn't look at before I went into the movie. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those movies where you could have kept watching if it was longer.
I wanted it to be longer, honestly.
Like, if it was 3 hours, 3.5, I still would have sat there. I was soaking wet because there was a flash flood this morning. I was soaking wet in the theater. I would have kept watching it. Like, is that good? Is that creepy? It's that unsettling the whole time? It's just like, dude.
Yeah.
What? TM.
TM. I think Ari Aster is proving himself to be up with Jordan Peele as like the next great horror directors. Mm-hmm. And I think this is more digestible than Hereditary just because it has a lot more comedic relief. It's probably more fucked up than Hereditary, but at least you'll laugh.
Hereditary's really just fucked up at the end.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, but it's majority of the part.
It's really depressing, though.
Yeah.
Whereas this is unsettling throughout, but, you laugh from time to time.
It's unsettling in, like, the smallest ways, too. Just the way that people, like, talk to each other or, react.
Even the friend played by Wilhelm Blomgren, who you're not supposed to know is creepy from the get-go, he reads as, nice, but you're not sure if it's because he's... I mean, knowing the plot of the movie, you're probably like, oh, he knows some fucked up shit. But you kind of want him to be naive to it and kind of oblivious to what goes on in his hometown. Because he comes off as a nice guy, but he is, like, there's something off about him, and you're not sure if it's just because he's foreign and doesn't know how, like, Americans act. or whatever. But yeah, it's just a great movie from start to finish. One thing that Ari Aster, I think, is becoming one of his trademarks is awkward but real and devastating, like howling, mourning, crying, like both Toni Collette in Hereditary and Florence Pugh in this, when they have something tragic happen to them, just have like this really realistic howling cry, and it's haunting in a way.
Yeah, it's just like one of those cries. If you were like alone, you'd probably just be like, I'm not gonna. Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to spike the mic or anything, but it's just like,
exactly.
It's Florence Pugh, man.
She's great.
She's fantastic.
She's
in this
great,
movie.
and the only thing that I don't buy is how any guy would find her a nuisance. Like it's like that's the main. Her boyfriend's whole thing is just like, oh yeah, she's just annoying me, and like what she's doing doesn't really seem that annoying, and it's also Florence Pugh, so you're just like, just suck it up, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was annoying the shit out of me. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't stand people. I won't just say chicks who are like this. Just like super. My sister's like this. I'll say that. I don't like you, Brittany. It's like they're just like really bipolar and like make you feel like you're the bad guy in a lot of situations. Well, granted, like maybe like he was at a certain point, like here, like just in a decision he made, but like it's really hard to explain.
I feel like it could be viewed either way because there were times. I mean, they both did it, but there were times where I felt like
is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I felt like he did it too in a way, at least in the beginning.
At points he had it coming to him. Yes.
Yeah. So like it definitely went back and forth because I felt like
he's no hero. Like he wasn't like, oh well, he kind of doesn't deserve that. Like he wasn't that kind of person. But like at the same time, it's like, all right, you don't need to be overreacting like that.
Yeah.
So like I mean, I hate people who overreact like that.
Yeah. Well, to me, it seemed.
I mean, she worked it. She did so good at it. Like. Yeah.
To me,
I believe she actually had that problem, but
yeah, she seemed like someone who more had like a mental illness, like bipolar disorder or whatever, and he just seemed kind of like an asshole who was not empathetic of that. And I'm not saying that he should have dealt with everything, but like there were definitely times where I was like, you could kind of like hear her out a bit more than you're doing right now. But yeah, again, there's both times where one's right, one's wrong, and then vice versa.
I think a major thing that you can take with that is that they were in a relationship for 4 years. They even bring that up, so like I could see it dragging on him.
Yeah,
at least the 3.5 years when a certain plot point happens with her family. I could see that dragging, and then that kind of overbearing him.
Yeah.
Or just making him feel like he has to stay and help. But oh my goodness, man. Florence Pugh is so good.
She is. The cinematography in this is fantastic. You know, most people are talking about how it's you'll be afraid of the sun when it's out. And like it does such a good job at being terrifying while not hiding anything. It's just so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
Oh man, one of the things I really enjoyed, like they used like reflections a lot in this movie, like mirrors and stuff like that. Like
yeah, and one of the scenes, the entire table's a mirror, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. But like they, instead of just like panning to show all the characters, they have like a mirror in the background. Showing one of the other characters who sat down behind the camera or something like that. And they really utilized that a lot in this movie, and I really enjoyed it because it wasn't all like that, but it was like enough to where you could be like, oh man, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, and I don't know how familiar you are with like Nordic culture at all before this.
Not much.
Well, first of all, like there is a picture of my older sister in a wedding where like the wedding theme was Nordic because part of my family is Swedish. Mm-hmm. And I can't look at a picture of her from that wedding the same way ever again because she's wearing like Swedish, dress and all that. And but the Ättestupa, I believe, is what it's called, where the old people kill themselves to not be a burden on the clan. Mm-hmm. I knew what that was beforehand, but like it took me a while because I forgot what the word was. And when they say tomorrow we're gonna partake in the Ättestupa, and the one friend who's there doing his thesis on it was just like, "Wow, really?" And like that guy's a total asshole for not telling his friends what it was.
Especially when she was like, "Is it scary?" He's like,
"Yeah."
Just
like
Tim Allen to that shit.
It's one thing to be open to other cultures, and it's another thing to completely drag your unknowing friends into that. Like, come on, man.
Like, that's something like people should definitely know before watching.
Yeah,
or witnessing.
It's not like, watching them like slit a goat's throat or whatever. It's watching two of the elders jump off a cliff to their death. One of which does not die right away, so they smash his head with a hammer.
See, when he as soon as he jumped and I didn't see him going like face first or anything, I was like, "Oh yeah, well, I know how that's going next."
Yeah. Ugh. But the whole movie does a really good job at like being weird and unsettling, and
man,
like even to the point, but in a weird way, it's you kind of understand how Florence Pugh's character is kind of like taken back by it, like the whole community aspect, which she never really had, even with her boyfriend. She never had like this loving community. And the scene where after she finds out her boyfriend has cheated on her and like goes back and cries, and then all of the other women cry with her, I was just like, oh, this is not going to end well.
that was super unsettling.
Yeah. I was like, oh, she's in this now. She's a part of this. She is okay with everything that's happening. Oh, man. Ari Aster, you genius.
You sexy genius bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. This movie is so good. Everybody involved. At the end of the day, every time you go back, you sit down, you ponder, and you go, fucking white people.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did at the end of this movie. I'm like, damn it. Between this and, oh, shit, now, of course, I'm blanking right now. Get Out. I'm like, at the end of the movie, I'm like, fucking white people. And this movie had like real white people, like really white people in it.
Yeah, I mean they're Nordic.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so funny.
Yeah,
just have a movie sit there and go, oh my god.
The crazy thing is the guy who participates in the Ättestupa, or however the hell you pronounce it, the guy who jumps and breaks his ankles. He looks like one of my uncles. And it made that whole part with him. I was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. I mean, like, he looks different enough where I could separate the two, but it was still just like I kept thinking of my uncle throughout the entire thing. I'm like, why?
There's one scene that had me dying. And it was the scene where they took the mushrooms in the beginning. And they're all just sitting in a field, and Will Poulter's character is just like, I need you guys to lay down. Can you please lay down?
Yeah, he was great. He was
fantastic for what he was in it for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! And I'm not saying I may or may not have participated in such events, but that is exactly what goes down during that scene. You're just like, all right, guys.
Help me.
It's so funny. I was laughing that whole time.
Yeah, I mean, even as someone who has not partaken in that, or the craziest thing mind bending wise I've ever done was get anesthesia from when I got my wisdom teeth out. It's still funny. Like I it's probably just because I watch a lot of movies, but I could tell that was a pretty truthful
yeah. Oh my god, it was so
showing
funny.
of it.
And like I kept laughing at every line they were saying just because.
Oh yeah.
Been there, done that. Anyway, did you notice at any point they were taking like a drug or like a drink or something like that? Like things in the background or foreground would be like kind of pulsating.
Yeah. I mean, the entire,
especially during the dinner after the May Queen.
Yeah, that's probably like the biggest thing. From the dancing of the May Queen forward, it's pretty much like, especially the one flower on her crown keeps like opening and closing.
Yeah. And then the one meal that was in front of her too kept doing it too.
Yeah, that was a interesting touch. I really enjoy the detail of this. I'm probably going to see this again on Wednesday because it's just that kind of movie.
I don't know if Kira wants to see it or not. We saw Hereditary together. This is a little bit easier to take than Hereditary.
Yeah,
it's
yes
a little
and
more,
no.
It's a little more normal.
It's
in
not
a sense.
it's not as sad, which I think gets a lot of people in Hereditary.
Yeah,
but it is more fucked up in my mind.
Yes.
It's kind of a gray area.
During the meat pie scene, did you immediately go, "Well, they're eating their friend. They're eating their one friend"?
And I don't know if they ever answered that.
They didn't. Because actually, I don't know. Oh, we did say spoilers, right?
Yeah.
I could say that. I guess the one person who disappears, where you think, all right, well, they're eating that guy, that one guy now. I won't say names now. So they're eating that one guy. Like his person was still a thing, not like all torn up and like he was still alive.
Yeah.
However, the one chick, though, I can't say for sure. They
put them all in the barn at the end, or the
so the only person who it could have been was Eyebrows.
Will Poulter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's completely skinned at the end, where his skin is just filled with hay when they put him into the
oh man, that was
the
weird
barn thing.
That was weird seeing him skinned and Hannibal Lectered.
Yeah, the one thing I kind of liked is you know how they sacrifice two of their own just to make it even. And they told the guy that he would feel no pain. He totally feels pain, and it made me just question everything about the entire cult.
Yeah, I wonder what that was about.
I don't know if it was like the drugs they gave him didn't work.
Because the other character didn't seem to be fazed by it.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of that thing where, they with the Atastupa, when the first woman died, they didn't mourn at all, and then when the second guy broke his ankles and was suffering,
when one person's
mourned.
in pain, they're all in pain. It seems like.
So I wonder if that's what there's going. Like, they were trying to make it painless, but it didn't really work out. So it's definitely something I'd have to read into, and yeah,
man. I really liked this movie.
I'm glad, because we were gonna have problems if you didn't. So
I didn't go into it expecting a lot. Not that I shouldn't have, but I don't like wanting to expect something big. Because I kind of did that with Hereditary. Like, I expected more horror, but I came out still loving it, even though it wasn't what I expected. I think this is easier to take in for the average person, because Hereditary, like you said, is more depressing. This one's just more fucked up.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is everything is beautifully shot, and it's mostly just because of the color palette. Like, the color palette is beautiful, but in the beginning, when you find out her sister did a murder-suicide of her parents and herself by, feeding
Carbon monoxide.
a hose of carbon, like from the car muffler to them. The way they shot that with the police and fire department going in to find the bodies was stunning. Like, it was just the best scene like that I've ever seen, you know, like darkly lit. It was just so great. So even when they're playing with darkness, it was still beautiful.
Yeah. Did I tell you what I caught the like ass end of what the title cards they were doing, like the Swedish title cards? So I sat down as like that went away and it went into
like
the movie
after like the trees and the snow and everything.
Yeah, so I just sat down for the trees and the snows and stuff.
Well, that's good timing.
I was like, oh my god.
But yeah, do you have anything else to say?
Not much. Fantastic film. Everybody's great in it.
Ari Aster, make more stuff.
Please.
Make more stuff.
What time is it?
9 p.m.
That can't be right. The sky is blue.
This is what 9 p.m. is like here.
How long have you two been together?
Just over 3.5 years.
4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's like another world.
Tomorrow's a big day.
Is it scary?
What is it?
It has special properties.
What am I going through?
We just need to acclimate.
I don't want to acclimate. I want to go.
Absolutely not.
What's happening? I don't know why you invited us.
That's why you look so guilty right now, because you know.
We only do this every 90 years. I was most excited for you to come.
So that'll do it for The Basement and Midsommar. Let's get into The Judgment. Glenjamin Button, will you make The Basement a shelf boy?
Basement can go in the basement. It's not going on no shelf.
Yeah, it's gonna go. We're gonna dig a hole in the basement to make it lower than the basement, and that's where The Basement and Spring Breakers will reside.
We're gonna John Wick it, except for valuables won't be in the basement.
Yes, it'll be
underground.
Unvaluable
basement.
So
floor.
far, two things. We should do something. So this is a basement hole boy.
The whole boy.
The whole boy. It's right now. It's just The Basement and
my goodness.
And Spring Breakers. So yeah, that's a no for me as well. Midsommar. I think we've already praised this movie enough. I'm not even gonna tease anyone a little bit. It 100% is a shelf boy.
It is a shelf boy.
Yes. So The Basement does not make it onto the shelf. Midsommar does make it onto the shelf. That brings us to next week when we will discuss two other movies. I believe I went first last week, so you go with yours this time.
My movie is going to be the 1984 Dune.
Dune?
Dune.
Oh no, isn't that like 4 or 5 million hours long?
Is it? It says it's only 2. I have not heard much about this movie, but I have heard about this movie's name a lot.
Okay.
That's the main reason I'm going to pick it. It is on Amazon. And I guess I'll get into it. It is directed by, obviously, David Lynch, written by Frank Herbert and David Lynch. Oh, look at that. It stars Kyle MacLachlan, Virginia Madsen, and Francesca Annis, or Annis, whatever you want to call it. A duke's son leads desert warriors against the galactic emperor and his father's evil nemesis when they assassinate his father and free the desert world for the emperor's rule, or from the emperor's rule.
Ooh.
I don't know shit about this movie. I just know its name was a lot, or strewed across the galactic universe a lot.
I thought it was a mini-series, which is why I thought it was long. But yeah, if it's... what platform is that on? I'm sorry.
I only saw it on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
I don't know if it is on anything else. I could search real quick while you're talking about yours, but Amazon Prime is the one. Everybody's got Amazon Prime.
Okay, so Dune is Glenjamin's movie. I know for a fact you've seen this movie because we talked about it in one of our videos once. This movie is called Roadhouse.
I have it on DVD. I don't have to do anything else.
There you go. It's available on Netflix. Netflix sponsor us.
Please.
Starring Patrick Swayze, Kelly Lynch, Sam Elliott, and Ben Gazzara.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
This is a guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie.
It is written by Lance Hill and Hilary Henkin and directed by Rowdy Harrington. What a name, Rowdy Harrington. Roadhouse tells the story, stand by, it is loading, of a tough bouncer that is hired to tame a dirty bar. That's
all you need to know.
That's
it's
the
really
entire
it.
plot. The reason I picked this is because you talk so highly of it as a guilty pleasure, and one of my coworkers won't shut up about this movie.
Really?
So we're gonna watch Roadhouse, available on Netflix. Netflix sponsor us,
please.
So next week's movies.
It's gonna be an interesting week.
Yeah, it's gonna be 80s week, man. We're gonna do 80s. It's Dune. That is available on Amazon Prime, and Roadhouse available on Netflix. Netflix sponsor us. Please. Jesus Christ. As always, you can follow us on Instagram, Keystone_film_review. On Facebook, we are Keystone Film Review. On Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we do some 80s stuff. Goodbye.
What 80s stuff?
I don't know.
Okay. Coke.
Cocaine. PCP. And new Coke.
Oh my goodness.
Bye.